Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapters so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part podcast, you have Ford saying they're going to make one EV to rule them all, one to guide them, or one to bind them, and in the darkness guide them. A terrible attempt at Lord of the Rings reference, but I'm sure some will appreciate. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Andrew Collins at thedrive.com. And they say, quote, Ford says it will deliver the dreams of truly modular skateboard EVs. If Ford lives up to its promise of making electrical cars affordable and unique within the next few years, it'll be a welcome evolution for the EV industry, which, yeah, as Ford loses Ford loses about $5 billion per year on their EV division. They're only kept alive because of their gas vehicles, which people somehow still buy despite, again, a record number of recalls. But yeah, this is not a very original idea for the EV industry, but it would be revolutionary if they could actually execute this idea. Basically, and they summarize it more eloquently than I, and I'll go through that in a second here, though. It's an instance where, if you see on the picture there, you got the Ford vehicle on top. I believe that is a Ford Maverick. And under it, you got skateboard. And just like as you would think, they would just swap out the skateboard for all the different types of vehicles, which would add to the slowness and boringness of all these vehicles as it becomes just software differentiating them in terms of the driving experience. But being a gearhead, obviously, I'm not their target audience. They want people who like disposable, expensive cars, also known as EVs. Now, diving into the article, again, credited to Andrew Collins at thedrive.com. He says, quote, we're about 15 years into an era of practical electric cars. Hold up, practical? No, they're still disposable. Still take a while to charge. There is supercharging. But yeah, I wouldn't say we're in an era of practical EV ownership. If you live in a shitty, and I pronounce that on purpose, or rather mispronounce it on purpose as a slight to those areas, maybe, but nevertheless, I'll get back to his article. He says, quote, for much of that time, we've been hearing about the potential of the skateboard chassis, the EV that can do everything. Just drop it on top of any structural battery deck. But so far, no automaker has really run with this efficiency to crank out dramatically different cars from one platform. Ford, however, might finally deliver. Ford shared plans to radically change the way it assembles cars. Not only is the Blue Oval planning on expanding its EV offerings, geez Louise, shareholders are going to love that. We lose $5 billion per year. Let's keep doing that. But it's also positioning itself to make them more affordable and diverse. The $30,000 electric truck announcement caught our attention as car enthusiasts. You just say car enthusiasts like electric trucks? I don't know about that. But really, the Ford Universal EV Platform and Ford Universal EV Production System are a much bigger deal for the industry. By building cars in 3 parallel processes, the skateboard chassis, the front, and the rear, Ford can theoretically build basically anything from trucks to sedans to sports cars and vans in the same facility using the same structural belly. The company's goal is to cut production costs and increase margins. They need it. But it could also represent a huge opportunity for choice on the consumer at the end of the deal. Yeah, I don't think so. Again, EVs are like cell phones, disposable, expensive, and even worse because only one person can fix it, Ford. So, yeah, consumer choice, I think not. You have the illusion of choice by getting one of these disposable pieces of junk, in my opinion. Now, they say, quote, it was a particularly interesting development to learn about since it was only about 3 months ago Ford reportedly scrapped its next-gen zonal electric architecture ideas for ICE cars and EVs, pivoting to cultivating existing systems. Essentially, the company decided that by integrating some aspects of its canceled FNV4 network architecture vehicle, like modular software and central control panel, into its existing architecture, Ford figured it could still offer things like over-the-air updates without quite so much money as it would need to build out an all-new zonal system from scratch. I guess compromise was achieved because the big bragging point from Ford's announcement was about electric car architecture commitments. For instance, the wiring harness in the new midsize truck, it will be more than 4,000 feet shorter and 10 kilograms lighter than the ones used in the first generation electric SUV. which will surely disappoint the that's racing crackheads, drug users who want to use these for scrap materials. Now, they say, quote, if Ford lives up to the Universal EV production system promises, then the Ford Universal EV platform has a great chance of delivering on the dream of having a super diverse vehicular lineup on one skateboard. In other words, Ford may have found the optimal zone architecture solution for legacy automakers. Right. Now, obviously, platform sharing has been around forever. There are plenty of disparate gas cars based on sharing underpins. Ford's not the first to offer to build different EVs on one shared platform either. Volkswagen Group's MEB platform is one such example already in production. Volkswagen spent a lot of resources trying to figure out zonal architecture too before deciding to just buy it from Rivian. But that's not exactly why I think Ford may do it better than VW. Despite regularly leading the industry in recalls and killing its entire sedan and subcompact lineup, Ford knows how to have fun. Look at the many Raptors there are, Mustang variants like the GTT, funky tremor trims on work trucks and large and small, while Volkswagen is laying one egg-shaped vehicle after another. Further proof this author is inebriated. Volkswagen Group, or VAG, Volkswagen Auto Group, which is their acronym, not making that up. Volkswagen also makes, let's see, Lamborghini, Bugatti, Ducati, oh yeah, Porsche. Again, I love the Ford Mustang, the real one with the stick shift and V8. That's awesome. But yeah, saying that, Volkswagen is boring. Again, they make the fun GTI. Granted, it's automatic only, so that is boring. But yeah, in terms of which company is making more great things for the consumer, again, Volkswagen is having less recalls. Well, everyone is compared to Ford. But yeah, Ford claims it has a magical formula. Now, we'll see. Again, this is not an original idea. It would, if properly executed, it would cut costs dramatically. I would also make the argument that it would be a soulless driving experience. But again, most consumers are not gearheads. They just want to get to the grocery store and to their job and go back home. They don't care that there's only 2 pedals, also known as an automatic transmission, which I find abhorrent. But yeah, the real question is, do you think, and again, not financial advice, do you think Ford has a resource allocation, the engineering team, and the execution skills to take this idea and really roll it out in mass without recalls and without and be able to do it profitable? Again, a lot of companies lose money for years when it comes to research development, putting out a new product. That's pretty common. Amazon historically, famously lost money for over a decade, I believe. But Ford, again, how many years is this? Is it half a decade already? Every year they lose between, they started losing, what was it, 4.8 billion. Last year's 5 billion, projected 5.2 billion lost this year on EVs. Again, the market, the biggest, fastest growing segment of the market, though I'm not a fan, is hybrids. That's where Toyota read the room properly, and they put a lot of money in research and development into hybrid technologies. And it makes sense, because that's where a lot of consumers are going. Maybe Ford thinks this is the ultra future, and this will be the sure bet to win. But again, it feels like a pipe dream. Everyone's had this idea for ever since the EV came out. I understand conceptually it'll be revolutionary, but I'm so skeptical that Ford can do this. Maybe they think this is their Hail Mary to take the company to the next level. But yeah, it's interesting that Ford wants to go down this road. And again, yes, they did cancel their 3-row EV SUV, which I don't blame Ford too much on that, because most other companies have in terms of the large EV SUVs. And also the consumers aren't buying those anytime soon. Especially, thank God, the government rolling back some regulations in the in the U.S. automotive industry. So I'm pretty skeptical it's going to work out, but let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. Greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comments. Great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how to make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.